Hello, class. Welcome to our lesson today dealing with the beginning of Chapter 4. We're just going to be looking at a few slides that deal with inequalities. I want to make sure we're clear about how to draw them and how to write things out, and that should help us as we continue to move through Chapter 4. When it comes to inequalities, the key thing is that there's more than one answer, which is why the inequality sometimes is graphed. So this first one says x is less than or equal to negative 2. Now notice here I just have a number line. I've got 0 on it somewhere. I know in the past you've often had to put 0 in the middle, and then you had to like put 1 and -1 and 2 and -2, etc. down the sides. Don't feel that that's necessary all the time. Just make sure you know where 0 is at. So for example, if I said x less than -100, I don't expect to go -100, -99, 98, etc. all the way to 0. But you need to make sure you know where 0 is at. In this question, the whole idea is the circle filled in or not. Notice that this first one, the circle is filled in because it has this is less than or equal to, and it combines together to be one symbol. Whereas the second one is just less than 3, and it's an open circle. The problem is you can't go to one that is an open circle and say, oh, just go to 2, because what about 2.5 or 2.7? You say, well, how do I get as close to 3 as I can without saying I want 3? And the open circle does that. So notice this first one is a closed circle, and this next one is an open circle. They both want less than, so you want numbers that are smaller, so you have to go further to the left. That's why the line and the arrow pointing to the left then, because you want all numbers that are less than, they're given information of -2 and 3. Compare that with this one. This says x is greater than or equal to -5. Here's a good example. I didn't put 0 on my number line, but we know 0 is over here to the right somewhere. This is a filled-in circle because it has the equal to. Okay, because if I just asked you to graph x equals -5, that would be a dot or a filled-in circle at -5. And you want everything greater than, so it should be an arrow pointing to the right side. This next one, this explains why a lot of people like to have the variable on the left side. You can imagine that people get the 4 correct with the open circle, but when they try to graph this, they actually graph it to the right because, oh, it's a greater than, so I want it to the right. But if you swing this all the way around, if you swing this and put the variable on the left side, really what you have here is x is less than 4. Okay, so that arrow should be pointing to the left, not the right. The other thing is if you plug in a number like 0, 4 is greater than 0, and that would correspond to this area to the left, okay, as opposed to the area to the right. One cool thing that you may not have noticed about graphing, let's go back to the beginning here. So let's look at this x is less than 3. Notice that the less than symbol is the same as the arrow that's on the graph. That's where the less than symbol comes from. And it corresponds to the fact that, oh, I'm looking at all of these numbers that go to the left side, and that's why that arrow is there going in that direction as well. Compare that with this next one with x greater than or equal to -5, so the greater than symbol. Okay, that greater than symbol says, oh, I want numbers that go to the right or get larger, which correlates to the arrow being in that case. That idea works well, but you have to make sure the variable is on the left side in order to do that. So for the last question, that's why the flipping around might be helpful to you, because really you want x less than 4, which corresponds to the arrow pointing to the left again. So that's where some of those arrow ideas come from, just for your own future reference. Homework today is just a worksheet about Chapter 4. It covers coming up with your own graphs. Okay, so it'll be questions like these ones. Another thing that you'll see is the opposite. So I will give you the graph, and you tell me this part. That's strictly from the idea of is it open or closed, which way does the arrow go, and what's the cutoff point or the number. The answer key is there for you, so you want to make sure you're going through those questions and finding the answers correctly. And then there's a few two-step equation questions at the very end to make sure we're practicing the ideas from Chapter 3. Have a good day, everybody.